Every day, your competitors are in your customers' inboxes fighting for their attention. And the truth is, some of them are winning that battle. Not because their products are necessarily better, but because their emails are designed to grab and monetize attention. Look, your customer's brain is wired to ignore most emails. Why? Because the brain is a pattern recognition machine, and most emails look and sound exactly the same. To break through that mental filter, your design needs to tap into how people actually process information and make decisions. In this video, I'll show you 5 principles of design that you can apply to your emails right now to make them impossible to ignore and irresistible to click. This is beyond the generic advice you see online. These are some of the strategies that 9-figure ecom brands use to crush it with their emails. So let's get into it. First, let's bust the biggest myth in ecom, which is pretty emails are less effective and ugly emails rule. I'm sure you see this all the time on social media. So these are some of the emails from big brands. And my question to you is, do these look ugly to you? So the first one is from Allbirds. So they generated 189 plus million in 2024. You can see their email is pretty clean, pretty well designed. Second one is from Bombas, 256 million plus in 2024. Third one is from Brooklinen. And the fourth one is from Athletic Greens. So they have generated $600 million in 2024. So this myth mainly comes from people who can't design beautiful emails that convert, because that's actually a very, very difficult skill to learn. And it's also a marketing tactic to shock people, basically to get their attention. You're selling physical products here and they are visual. And I'm sure you care about your product design and aesthetics. You wouldn't want to sell an ugly designed product. And yeah, this is no different from your emails as well. So here is a recent email transformation we had for a brand that's called Realsy. So you can see on the left here, their old email, basically, it wasn't particularly optimized for conversions and it didn't align very well with their brand aesthetics. You can see on the right are a couple of emails that we made for them that aligned much, much better with their brand aesthetics and visuals, and also that aligned with their tone of voice as well. These emails are also optimized for conversion. And you can see there is a huge difference between the email on the left and the 2 emails on the right here. So 5 rules for high converting email design. The first one is function first. So what is the objective of all of your emails? Is basically to make money, whether it's in the immediate term using direct response copywriting or maybe down the line. But the objective is always to generate revenue for your ecom brand. So design should always serve a function. The second thing is always be selling, even if you're educating or, as some people say, offering value, entertaining, empowering, or engaging your customers. These always should serve a function, which is either soft sell or hard sell your products. And the third one is emails should load super, super fast, render everywhere, and drive a specific action. So there is actually a built-in feature now on Klaviyo that allows you to compress your emails, which is very, very important, because if the graphics are big on the email client, then some of them, they are not going to load properly and maybe take a few seconds extra to load. And we know that people have very short attention spans, that they will exit your email before it even loads. So this is very, very important. We used to use different tools in the past, but Klaviyo now has a built-in feature, which is really good. So the fourth one is going to be to have one goal or CTA or offer per email, so to limit distractions. And this is an issue I see even for some 9-figure brands. So sometimes I check their emails and I see that they are promoting like 3 different things in an email. Maybe the top header or the top section is going to be talking about one new product they launched, and then the mid section is going to be maybe talking about a giveaway and how people can apply, and the third section is going to be talking about something completely different, maybe a feature they got on some magazine or something like that. And this is incredibly distracting. And I understand that sometimes, especially with big brands that have huge catalogs, since they are sending basically an email to a huge chunk of their subscribers, it's very difficult to choose exactly what you can put on your email. But when you can, please try to have one offer or one CTA per email, because if you have too many, people will take no action. So the second one is to align with the brand aesthetics and tone of voice. And you can see at the top here some of the complaints I get from the prospects I talk to. The first one, I asked them, have you ever worked with an agency before? And if so, how was your experience? And he said, yes, was extremely hands-on. I had to provide all the design, the copy, and product information, and took a lot of time on my end. Obviously, I will always have input, but I have multiple jobs, as a founder does. So it slows us down from getting quality content out there. And then you can see on the right here, I asked what's your greatest challenge right now, and he replied with creative and copy. So this is very, very important, and it's one of the biggest complaints I receive from prospects when I talk to them. And you can see at the bottom here is an example from a client of ours that's called Flings. So you will notice there is a consistency throughout the entire funnel. So you can see their Facebook ad here and their website and our email that we designed for them. They are all aligned here. So your email program needs to be just another room in your house and not a completely separate dungeon or something like that. Okay. The third one is going to be legibility. So use big text, especially if your target demographics is older, because then your text is not going to be straining on the eye. And also in general, because most people now view emails on their mobile device. And if you have like very small text, it's going to be very straining for them to read, and they might exit your email before they take any action. So the second one is to ensure sufficient color contrast. So this is very, very important, especially when you want to drive attention to a particular part of the email, like the CTA or something like that. Make sure to use sufficient contrast there. The third one is to avoid long paragraphs. There is a time and place for those when you use like long copy, and it still works incredibly well. But generally speaking, for graphic emails, we try to say more with less words. The fourth one is going to be to optimize for mobile. Again, most people will view your emails on mobile. And the fifth one is to optimize for dark mode. I myself use grayscale on my phone to limit distractions, so I don't use my phone often. And a lot of people use dark mode or grayscale, etc. So make sure to optimize for those as well. The fourth one is clarity, scannability, and digestibility. And this is a huge one. So make your message unmistakably clear at a glance in the first 3 to 5 seconds. So especially of the top header or the top section, people need to understand immediately what the offer or the message is about. Otherwise, if they are confused, they're going to bounce and not take any action. So make sure everything is very, very clear. The second is to use less words, and Apple is absolutely master at this. So you can see one of their emails on the right here for the Apple Fitness Plus. Yeah, basically big text. You can see they have high contrast on their CTA with that green. You can see simple photography, less text, not a lot of words. So this is very, very important. Please avoid using like filler words or jargon words, because those are only going to make the customer bored. Make sure to only focus on high impact words in your copy. So the third one is to use bullet points or icons for lists instead of paragraphs. And this is very, very important because our brains process visuals 60,000 times faster than words. So if you can get away with highlighting something in visuals instead of word format, then you can go ahead and do that. The fourth one is to highlight maybe key benefits or deadlines with either badges, labels, or banners to draw the eye quickly to urgency or value. And the fifth one is going to be to use a single column layouts. Again, a lot of people are going to be viewing your emails on mobile. And if you have multiple columns, like 3 or something like that, then people will not be able to see or read the text inside of them. Again, use short headlines and the obvious CTA buttons. We love using short headlines and short taglines that are more impactful instead of basically adding some filler words that don't achieve anything. So the fifth one is going to be hierarchy and flow. So the CTA is the bullseye of the email. So that's where you should be driving most of the attention towards. And the second one is going to be to guide the reader's eye through a clear visual path. So the first one is going to be the headline or the tagline at the top. Then you have a hero image. Then maybe expand a little bit with the copy about your offer or the content of your email. And then you have a CTA, and then the body, and then another CTA. So the third thing, which is very, very important, is to keep the first CTA above the fold. And this is proven to get higher clicks, because a lot of people today, they have very, very short attention spans, and they will not scroll beyond that first section. So it's very, very important to have your CTA above the fold so they can click on it. And a lot of your subscribers actually don't know that if you are using all graphic emails, then they can basically click on any part or corner of the email and it's still going to take them to the CTA. So they still think that they need to click on the button. So just make sure to keep your CTA above the fold. The fourth one is to use directional cues like arrows, maybe lines, or gaze direction in images to point towards the CTA. I love the example from the second brand here, the Sundays for dogs. You can see it's a really, really cool email. Even though they didn't have the CTA above the fold, again, there are always exceptions, but I love this design because it just flows naturally. And then you have like this photography here, big headline here, and you have like the CTA, which is super clear here. So the fifth one is going to be to use more spaces. And the reason for this is because of cognitive load. Too much crammed together equals nothing stands out. So make sure to have a lot of space. Again, this second brand, Sundays, does it very well. You can see there is a lot of basically empty space on the background, and you are forced to pay attention to basically the product here and the dog photo, the tagline here or the headline, and then the CTA. So this is very important. Don't cram too many things in your email because then nothing stands out and people just get overwhelmed and exit your email. So I oftentimes notice that bigger brands fail to follow this rule, and it's a bit tricky because a lot of brands that have huge catalogs, because they are sending to maybe a big chunk of their subscribers, they want to highlight as much as possible because they have a lot going on a daily or weekly basis. For example, if we work with an 8-figure fashion brand, then they have a lot of like new collections, new products, new offers, etc. And sometimes it's very difficult for the email not to look crowded. But again, it's all about balance here. And the last one is to use flowy design and not blocks. And this is actually one of the best things that our designers do, is to basically make the email flow towards the CTA. What I oftentimes see is emails that are designed in blocks. So basically you have this first block, which is completely separate from the second block or the third block, and it looks very bad and it doesn't flow naturally. Again, the email on the right here from Sundays flows incredibly naturally. So if you have like multiple sections in your email, try maybe to use gradients or maybe different shapes to make sure that the email flows towards the CTA. So that's it. If you would like high converting emails for your ecom brands, then we're happy to help you with that. Our clients generate between 35 to 50% of their total revenue from email and SMS. And if you're interested, I'm happy to offer you a free in-depth audit of your email and SMS program, where I show you exactly what's missing in your account, what could be improved, and how much more revenue you'll be able to generate when all of the improvements are implemented. So all you have to do is click on the last link in the description to schedule a quick call with me. You can see here that we helped Holstery go from 12% to 40% of attributed email and SMS revenue. We helped Dana from Kingsman Premium consistently stay over 40% of email and SMS attribution, and we peaked at 53. And we also helped Fluoro Store increase their email revenue by 7x. And if you'd like to see more of these video testimonials, you can check our website at powermymarketing.com. So if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I also included another link in the description of a free 50-page masterclass on the anatomy of the perfect e-commerce email. And you will find everything you need to know about designing high converting emails for your brand. So click on that link and get your free guide.